All right. Thank you guys for joining today. We're actually in the season finale of Hidden AI Gems Starters. We'll be talking about Krea AI today. It's one of those cool aggregators. We're wrapping up the month of March. Today's also a shout out to season finale for Shauna's Bible study, season finale for season 8. Tonight is Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. AI Johnny, ready?
Yep.
Let's go.
Welcome to Season 10 of Airhead Institute, your 45-minute AI power-up at noon Eastern. This month, we are broadcasting live across all the socials and Zoom. If you're new here, join our free AI community to grow alongside other curious minds and give your kids a head start by enrolling them in the Airhead After School program. Here's March's weekly lineup. Mondays, we take the training wheels off securely in the Open Claw Bootcamp. Tuesdays, we explore bleeding-edge tools from Google Labs in Gemini Hidden AI apps. Wednesdays, we equip the next generation in AI Gateway to College. Thursdays, we uncover productivity and marketing tools in Hidden AI Gems Starters. Fridays, we explore human purpose in an automated society in Humanity 2.0 No Jobs Edition. We're making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No tech background? No problem. Whether you're a student, professional, or lifelong learner, just show up. Guided by your hosts, AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're keeping it bold, brainy, and built for real-world impact. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind.
Welcome back to Season 10 of Airhead Institute. Today is episode 4 of the season finale of Hidden AI Gems. For starters, I'm AI Johnny, and by popular demand, the Hidden AI Gems series is back. Stop scrolling. Most of the AI tools you're using are already obsolete, cluttering your workflow with expensive, disjointed subscriptions that yield just okay results. You aren't just fighting a learning curve, you're fighting a fragmented ecosystem. Today, we collapse that chaos. We're moving beyond basic prompts to the frontier of real-time upscaling and generative precision with Krea AI. In 45 minutes, you'll stop trying to make professional assets and start exporting them. This isn't just another tutorial, it's the moment you reclaim your creative speed. I'm handing over the reins to AI Junior. I found him at 4 a.m. this morning, vibrating from an ungodly amount of espresso, juggling 5 different browser tabs, just trying to generate a single video clip, and he's discovered a 16th dimension inside a single pixel. Junior, please, put down the third latte and show them the magic.
AI Johnny, that was so awesome. Love that you're actually bringing the excitement. AI Johnny, how about this? Adrian, thanks for joining. Rita, Shauna, Chris, we see you actually in the Zoom chat, so welcome aboard. This is the season finale of episode 4 and Hidden AI Gem Starters. So again, class, I say this all the time. And next month, we're actually going to be starting a new series. So this is probably the last time you're going to hear this particular type of intro. But welcome class is an immersive class. Think of it being dropped in the middle of Tokyo. And at first, you have no idea what we're saying, but you'll pick up a word or two here. Konnichiwa, watashi wa junior desu. See, give it a month and you'll be fluent. Join our class every single day, and before you know it, you'll be speaking AI like a pro. If you're on Zoom, unmute and ask your questions real times. If you're on socials, there is a 30-second delay, so type your questions early. We are not ignoring you. Again, we are wrapping up week 4 of our March 2026 semester, and today we are looking at the absolute game changer for digital creatives. Let's go. Yeah, Johnny?
Yep, before we even touched the software today, we went straight to our official large language model of the month, Google's Gemini. I always consult Gemini when I need the absolute truth about a new platform, so I asked Gemini, what is the single most mind-blowing fact about Krea AI right now? Junior?
All right, AI Johnny. So check this out. So we actually pulled up Gemini, and Gemini actually said that Krea AI is pushing a single subscription price for the central hub of the creative generation. So things like acting as a massive aggregator that lets you generate AI videos with things like Veo. Currently, also Sora. Now, again, we just announced big news just yesterday that Sora itself is dead. They haven't pulled it yet. So just let you guys know that this tool does allow you to have access to TTVs, text to video generator. That's like Sora, a video, one, Kling AI, all in one place, right?
That is a bold claim. All the top models under one roof. Oh,
Yep.
except for the one that is now dead, that is. Junior, fire up the screen and let's see if Gemini is right.
All right. So I'm going to drop the link to Krea.ai, and I think I'm pronouncing it right. I haven't actually heard the actual pronunciation of it. So this is Krea.ai. And what you'll notice here is, again, let me actually remove the little bottom banner so you guys can actually see a little bit bigger. So we actually have Krea.ai running here, and we're actually logged in, and we just created a free account, and we'll get to the pricing details later. But if you actually see here, I can actually go over to an image, and I can actually just go ahead and start creating an image. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a free image because I don't want to use up any of my tokens yet. So let's go ahead and create a free image. So I'm just going to say create an image. And what I'm going to do is I am going to take a example. So I'm going to draw, finding my majestic 3D rendered tiger mascot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in here a majestic 3D rendered tiger mascot, cinematic lighting, high details, Unreal Engine, blah, 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 the typical stuff you'd find in a typical text to image generator. Now, AI Johnny, just to make it fun, what should we actually throw in just for randomness here to make sure that we're doing this live?
Octopus, of course.
An octopus. Okay, yeah. So a majestic 3D tiger mascot with an octopus. Octopus. And if anybody else wants to throw out anything else random that we can actually do and just show what you guys get, what we can actually do here. If not, we're just going to go ahead and hit the button in about 3 seconds. 2, 1. All right, here's what we're going to do. So we're going to hit the generate button. And as you can see here, it actually went over and it generated from 2 different models. It actually went over to the Krea model, and it also generated one from the Flux 2 Klein model. Now, again, they have many, many different models. They actually tout over 150 models, but if you notice, that came back very, very quick. And yeah, Jen, look at that. Let me make this smaller so you guys can see. So we actually have a that's actually kind of interesting. Huh? So you actually have a tiger here with octopus and tentacles, and that came from one. You can actually see here down at the bottom, the text is actually not rendered that well, but this is not. We're not actually trying to compare image models here, but here's another one generated by a different model, and we actually got them by just typing in one prompt. How was that, AI Johnny?
I think so. So what are the models? The ones that you said earlier? It just goes and hits multiple video models, so you can kind of compare instead of you having to jump back and forth between the tools.
Yeah, so if you see up here, there is every time I hover over it, it changes. So let me not. So, but where my left of my mouse is, there is model auto, and that auto just says I will automatically go figure out which model your prompt makes sense to go send it to. So I don't know what it's doing behind the scenes. It's an aggregator, so it routes it depending on wherever it thinks that text prompt should actually go. Now, if I do hover over it, it does give me a choice. It says auto chooses the best models for your prompt and plan automatically. So based on how much money I'm spending, it will just go figure out which model it should send my prompt to. It says, hey, this one is Nana Banana Pro. Only send my model to Nana Banana Pro. This one itself is 100 tokens. This one is Nana Banana 2. It's 50 tokens. If you send it to Krea 1, it's 6 tokens. If you send it to Nana Banana, it's 30 token. Flux 2 Klein is 4 tokens. Sea Dream, that's the one from ByteDance, which is the TikTok company. So you can actually see they have quite a few. They actually have the Quen model here. They have ChatGPT. So they have a whole bunch. There's actually Z.AI's model here. So you have lots of image models that you can actually send to.
When I send it to them, I'm paying tokens? you're saying to use this? Are they Krea tokens or are they tokens for these individual models?
Great question. So because they're an aggregator, think of it like a wholesaler. So when you actually go to, say, for example, BJ's or Costco or whatever, you're just paying a subscription fee to BJ's and Costco. You pay a little extra for buying it in bulk, but they're indirectly paying Costco a subscription fee to actually use their service. So what they're doing is they're passing those savings and those costs onto you. So a system like Krea is a one-stop payment shop for paying for these models. So you will get into the pricing later. So we'll pay Krea one price, and then behind the scenes, Krea will figure out based on how many tokens you have left, where should you actually route your prompt. Now, if you run out of tokens, it will probably try to find the cheapest ones to actually send it to. So it's actually trying to do the dirty work of the math for you, so you don't have to do it. Great question.
Why would Flex and C-Dance allow them to do that? They're creating their own competitor.
Oh, no, no, no. So you wouldn't they wouldn't actually route you to C dance. So anybody can actually just build the app. So I'm sure this Korea company just build the app and says, I'm going to connect my API, connect to their API. So they connect to 150 APIs. Because they connect to 150 APIs, they can say, hey, I am never going to send anything over to Sora 2 because maybe Sora 2 is dead, so therefore they don't want to send anything over to Sora 2. Or they can say, Nana Banana is too expensive. I'm never going to send anything over to Nana Banana 2. Or they could say, for this prompt, the person's asking for something ultra realistic. Text on the screen is important, so they'll route it to Nana Banana Pro every once in a while. So these other companies, they have no idea what's going on of who's actually using it.
I got it. So I'm paying Krea. Krea is paying these people based on their bulk purchase of their tokens.
That is correct. And API costs.
Why aren't we using Krea?
So we will get into the cons later. There are lots of cons anytime you actually do with an aggregator. So all the benefits, we did a TTV showdown in the month of January. We did a TTS showdown in the month of February. And all these questions are really, really great questions because anytime you use an aggregator, you gain some things, but you lose a lot more. So we'll get into the actual details. Great question, yeah, Johnny. Does anybody have any questions on Krea on what it can do? It's a content AI generation aggregator, right? So you have access to many different models. Anybody have any questions? All right, AI Johnny. Sure. Glad you said that, AI Johnny.
I'll tell you what the word of the day is. It's aggregator. In simple terms, this is a platform or software that collects related items of content from different sources and displays them in one single location. I suppose that's one definition of aggregator.
Exactly. So think of an aggregator like a massive digital shopping mall, right? Instead of driving all over town to visit one shoe store, a clothing store, a food court, you go to one single building that houses all of these different brands. In the world of AI, Krea brings all the top video image generation models into one single subscription. So again, you can think of it like the mall, or you can think of it like Costco, or you can think of it like Walmart. They actually, instead of going to the individual places, they bring everything into one place. So you just pay one price to one retailer. Hopefully that makes sense.
And it's usually cheaper. Well, let's talk about the pros and the cons when we get to the pros and the cons.
Definitely. It's usually cheaper, you're correct. And it's usually cheaper because you get the power of buying in bulk, right? So if you were to go to, say, for example, Walmart, and if you go to Walmart, you can probably buy, things a little bit cheaper than if you were to go to, say, for example, a regular store that's not a big, massive chain that only imports certain amount of goods at a certain cost. So Walmart, because they have the power of bulk or wholesale, they have the ability to actually buy cheaper because they're buying a lot more and they pass that savings on to you. Great point, AI Johnny. All right. So hold on. Rita's actually asking a question. Who is their biggest competitor? So we're actually seeing quite a few aggregators actually popping up. So if you actually look at Kling.ai, Kling, believe it or not, is actually an aggregator, even though they are building their own video model. So if you guys do remember from January or TTV Showdown, Kling did not actually have access to generate audio. No, they do have it as of this recording, but when we did the recording back in January, Kling did not have access to video. So they were recommending that you use VO3 temporarily. But so they do have the ability to go to different models. So there are many different aggregators out there that actually trying to do the same thing. And video, if you're doing video, it's one. If you're doing images, it's another one. So there's lots of competitors out there, too many to name. And so great question there, Rita.
So in theory, if you were going to, if we were going to enter in that video prompt into Krea, and it knew based on the prompt that we needed audio, it would not have sent it to Kling. It would have sent it to Flux or Sora or one of the others that have video, that have audio.
I would hope it would have done that. I mean, maybe. I would hope so.
Okay.
All
Well, I mean,
right.
it's supposed to send it where it makes most sense, right?
Yeah, that's what
Like it's
they're.
supposed to know the idiosyncrasies of the different models, and based on your prompt, it should say, "Oh, this is a perfect one for Sora. Oh, this is a perfect one for Flux. This is perfect for Nano Banana."
Yep, that's definitely a good point. So Rita's actually asking similar to Buffer. So Rita, great question. So let me just clarify. So Buffer, if my memory serves me correctly, is actually a social media aggregator. So a social media aggregator is definitely one stop shop where you can actually go out and actually use multiple social media platforms with one tool. So if you're making the analogy that this is also Buffer is also an aggregator, you're absolutely right. So Buffer is an aggregator for social media. So let me just double check. Let me just make sure that I'm actually bringing up the right thing. So this is the tool I'm think you're talking about, right, Rita? You can do a thumbs up if you can. If you can't, I think this is the actual tool you're talking about. So it is all your social media in one place. Rita does give me a thumbs up. Thank you. So yeah, so this is an aggregator for social media. So you usually have different aggregators and you'll spot them all over the place. So we actually talk about Costco or Walmart or BJ's. Those are in the retail space. And I use that analogy because it's something that we're very familiar with. But there are many different aggregators in many different places. So the one we're specifically talking about here is Krea, and they're in the large language model space that actually specializes in video and images. So great question. Thanks, Rita.
That's pretty cool. And as long as we're talking about aggregators, so yes, I would agree that Buffer and like is in Hootsuite. So
Uh,
I'm guessing that they aggregate. You can put in all of your passwords, and you can read all your Twitter and all your Facebook and all your LinkedIn in one place.
that is
But,
correct.
but more powerfully, I mean, I guess that's powerful than having to switch around. But when you make a post, you can say, post this to my LinkedIn, to my Twitter, to my Truth Social, to my what have you. So that's cool. There are also, I mean, my experience with aggregators has been with like associations or trade shows or chamber of commerce. They aggregate businesses together, and if you're in marketing, you want to talk to a lot of different businesses. So you go to a marketing aggregator like an association or a chamber, and you market to them, and then they send it to all of the different things. So yeah, that aggregation it has many different definitions, and seeing aggregation finally hitting the or the TTX space. I guess it's the TTV space, right?
They do both
Um,
images and video. I didn't see audio,
sure.
but I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised if they do audio as well.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's cool to know. And sooner or later, this tsunami of tools that is coming over the horizon is going to shake out to a handful. And it would be nice to have an aggregator that we just go to, and we don't have to always think about, oh my God, where am I going to send this prompt? And wondering when you're sending it to that prompt if there's another tool just down the road that I should have been sending it to get better or cleaner or faster results.
Exactly. All right, yeah, Johnny. Let's actually get to the killer features.
All right. Let's see. Well, let's look at Create AI. And what's dominating right now? Here are the killer features. The ultimate hub. It has access to multiple models, meaning you can generate AI videos with Veo, Sora, Juan, King, and more all in one place. You don't need 5 different logins.
Exactly.
Right? So you're not using logins. You're using Krea's logins.
Yes, so you never actually even know about you never even know about what's it called? You never know about all the details of what models are out there. And guess what? If a new model itself comes in, you never even have to worry about a new model. You don't have to worry about those things. You never have to worry about passwords. All those things are taken away. So we really do like aggregators for this feature because guess what? Just like if you go to Walmart, you never have to worry about, okay, where do I actually get my produce from? Do I have to go to the farmer's market? Do I need to actually go to, the guy who actually sells really good tomatoes down the street? You don't have to worry about all those individual things because the aggregator is abstracting and taking care of that away from you. Great point, AI Johnny. What's the other thing that actually killer features that we have over here?
Token limit bypass. This is a massive takeaway. If you're stuck because you hit a token limit in another dedicated tool, you can simply hop over to Krea's free plan to keep these generating because it operates in its own unit system, which is basically saying the same thing. But if I'm working on something under my account and I jump over to the Krea account, I won't be able to take all of my work with me or my history of prompts with me because I
That
cut
is
and paste them in the
That is correct, yeah, Johnny. So this is actually rather clever, and I want us to maybe just sit on this point for a second. Let's say, for example, you're working on a project, or you're working on something, and you're generating images, and you get a cool down period, and they say, hey, you know what? You're generating too fast. Wait one more day, or wait a week, whatever it is that you're paying for with either Google, or you're paying with ChatGPT, whatever it is. You can say, you know what? Let me go over to another tool. So if you go over to Krea, because they have so many models, they now can have the ability to actually go to a very, very, very cheap version of what you're actually trying to generate. So let's pretend, for argument's sake, it costs you 100 tokens over at Google to generate an image, and you don't have any more tokens. If you go over to Krea, and it's to use the same Google model will be 100 tokens, but guess what? You don't have to use the Google model. You can actually use a much cheaper model that may be 10 tokens. Now, the image quality is not going to be the same, but if you really need that image and you don't care about quality, or you don't care about all the nuances of text being perfect, and you just need the image, you can actually bypass your token limit by actually going this route. So it's actually a really good way to say, hey, I just need something in a pinch. I just need a placeholder. Give me something really, really cheap. I don't want to spend the expensive money. Make sense, yeah, Johnny?
Yep. We got another one, real-time generation. As we saw in the demo, the inference speed is unbelievable. You can change a pixel and the output updates instantly. That's rare in video.
Yeah, so one of the things that Korea is doing really great is that they're trying to actually give you the cheapest. Now, again, if you go to aggregators, the aggregators, their job is trying to sell you the most volume possible, which is why when you go to Costco, you go to pick up toilet paper, you actually have to buy toilet paper for the entire year, right? So the reason is because what they're doing is they're trying to give you the cheapest with the most volume. So aggregators, and I'm hinting at one of the cons, is that you probably are going to get the cheapest model because they're trying to serve you a right balance of what's the cheapest, and the cheapest usually means what's the fastest. So quality usually comes with time. So you get really, really, really fast speed, real-time generation. But if you actually pay attention, you saw that when we sent our images over to non-typical or non-name brand models. Thank you, Johnny. Love it.
So they also have a thing called the node editor. So in their sidebar, they have a dedicated node editor that allows power users to visually link different AI models together to create automated custom workflows You're going to have to take this one, brother. What does that mean?
Yeah, so this one's actually rather interesting, and I've never actually seen this in any of the actual TTI or TTV generators that I've actually used. So let's check this out. This is just a starter version of the show, but I really wanted to get into this. So there's this thing called Node Editor, and this Node Editor lets you build what's known as a workflow. So let's say, for example, you wanted to create a base image, right? So you create, say, for example, a base image of a car. Then you want to take that base image and say, I want to put it into a video. It can then take that image, put it into a video, and it can say, hey, not only that I want it to take it in a video, I want you to give me, a version of it where it's actually turning the car so I can see it in, say, for example, my website, if I'm actually want to see the car in 360 degrees. So what you're doing here is you're actually putting different pieces of your workflow in play so that you can actually generate the output of it. So let's show an example here. So if I show an example, I can actually go, let's use a pet shoot, for example. So if you see here, this one started with a picture of a dog. Let me zoom in a little bit more so everybody can see. All right, so this one started with a picture of a dog, right? And this dog, now I don't know if this was actually generated or if it was a picture added by a user. It really doesn't matter. The workflow itself constant is the same. So you take a picture of a dog, and then what it does is you have a prompt and it says, I want you to create multiple of the same exact thing. So it says, go create me a dog of a Nana Banana Pro of an English cream golden retriever sitting and holding a red soft plush. Then you can say using a dog. So what happens is it's using that reference, and what it's doing is it's saying, take this dog as my base image, and then using these workflow, I want it to be holding just like this, a red heart. I want you to generate the dog holding a red heart. And if you see here, you have the same dog over here. You can say, I want you to also generate it laying on the floor with flowers. So what you're doing here is you're saying, I have a workflow that I want to go from A to B to C. Normally, what you would do is you'd have to generate your picture. You'd have to upload your picture. You'd have to give it a prompt and say, hey, using this picture of a dog on the floor with hearts, I want you to take this picture and put this in and generate this. By setting up a workflow, if you do this a lot, let's pretend you run a photo shoot company. I wish Devon was here. He would love this episode. If I run a photo shoot company, I could take one image and generate 4 different versions of that same picture so I can actually give to my clients. So instead of setting up 4 different photo booths where the dog is holding an I love you, the dog is actually on the floor with hearts, the dog is actually has hearts over the head, I could take one image, the dog is wearing sunglasses, I could actually take one image and just create a workflow to then just generate 4 images in the exact same style I like. I know that was a little bit much, AI Johnny. Does that make sense?
It's new. I mean, at first I thought you were kind of describing the old what they do in Flow with ingredients and first frame. You take an image from Nano Banana and you make it your first frame. You take another image, make it your last frame, or you want to make an image or a video using this dog with that heart. You can do that with ingredients. But this is a little bit different because it's kind of like what you said. It's a workflow. So to each its own. It depends on what's your preference of how you like to work. I like this, and I like what they do over at Google. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's cool.
Yeah. Let me give another example. Let's pretend that because you're a photographer, you recognize that for the pet owners coming in for, let's say, for example, Valentine's Day, you want to show them 4 examples of their dog. Let's pretend. If, say, for example, you take one picture of your dog, you would have to take that picture and manually set up the photo shoot 4 times. So you'd have to set up the photo shoot, you have to get the dog in the perfect position, you'd have to, hopefully the dog is actually in the right lighting, hopefully the dog is cooperative, hopefully the dog doesn't actually need to go take a bathroom break, many, hopefully, and after 20 minutes, you get 1 shot. Then after another 20 minutes, you get a second shot, right? So what happened in this is you could take 1 shot, use AI, give it to the node editor, and then once you set up your workflow, By putting in one image, you get 4 images back instantaneously. And the reason is because you've set up a template that says anytime I input one picture of a dog, always output 4 images for me in these exact same styles. So hopefully that makes sense.
I've wasted so much of my life because these tools weren't around in the 80s.
Maybe AI Johnny, we will actually get a chance if we actually invent a time machine. So we will actually be able to go back. I see Rita and Shauna laughing in the chat. All right, AI Johnny, let's talk about the cons, because obviously there are cons to aggregators, and we want to make sure that we actually give a balanced version of what these aggregators are and what they're not.
Copyright ambiguity. Krea is an aggregator pulling from various models. The copyright terms can get very muddy. Legally, AI art based purely from text prompts often cannot be copyrighted, meaning anyone could potentially use your final generated asset. Is that true?
Yeah, so this is the battle that we're actually coming in. So many places, if you're using the free version of any tool, it's almost guaranteed that you do not own the copyright. So we've warned a lot in the past at Airhead is that if you're using free tools, just remember the moment you generate that digital content, it's not yours. So what that means is that because they're watermarking it and you put it on your social media, if you're using the free version, I can almost guarantee you that you can actually get a takedown notice and you can actually be sued for copyright violation. Now, will they do that? Probably not. But the point is, you're not actually in compliance. The second thing is, if you're using the paid version, it depends on also what tier you're on. So if you're on, say, for example, the lowest tier, sometimes they give you copyright access to it, sometimes they don't. So I want to be very, very, very clear that you never know the version of the subscription that you're on, do you get access to the copyright for that content you create? So, which is why it gets very muddy in an aggregator. So, first of all, you're dealing with 150 text to image models. Second, you don't know if they're using the free tier or they're using a commercial tier. And if that thing is watermarked, guaranteed that image has that watermark from that provider. And if you post it on social media, then if, say, for example, something, they say, hey, I don't like what you did here or whatever, you can get a takedown notice and you actually lose the access to that thing. So yes, unfortunately, anytime you actually are using a service provider, check the copyright.
Well, that's pretty unfortunate, brother. I've got a picture of my farm that I took with a drone, and then I ran it through Nano Banana to make the sky look like it was dusk. It's my picture. It's their dusk. And probably their watermark on it. But it shouldn't be their watermark. It should be both of our watermarks. That image was fathered by me and mothered by them. They can't own it. I can't own it either. It belongs to both of us.
I love it, AI Johnny. I love it. I love it. AI Johnny, what's the other problems that we actually have with aggregators?
Overwhelming choice. Having access to Sora, which is now, as of yesterday's news, probably not going to be a thing. VO, Kling, and WAN is great, but it can lead to analysis paralysis. Love that term. Users often burn through credits just trying to figure out which model works best for their specific scene. Perfection is the enemy of done.
Yep, exactly. And a lot of people don't realize it that if you actually use an aggregator and you send your image to, say, for example, 3 different image generators, what's going to happen is you're going to actually burn through tokens 3 times as fast. So even though you're maybe getting great choices, it may not necessarily be the best in terms of usage of the tokens. All right, yeah, Johnny.
Here's the worst one of all. Inconsistent results. Because you're bouncing between different foundational models, maintaining a consistent character or artistic style across multiple clips is incredibly difficult compared to using one dedicated fine-tuned workflow. So you're using 2 different brains, basically, or 3 or 4 different brains. If you're using one brain, at least you can be somewhat consistent. And so this is a real downflow to the aggregator market.
You're absolutely right, yeah, Johnny. And a lot of people don't realize that if you're using an aggregator, what you gain in price and costs, you lose in consistency. So unfortunately, you are giving up something if that consistency is not as important to you towards your branding. You just want to generate, stock images. definitely use these aggregators because you're definitely saving some money. There's also one other one I want to mention that that is really really important, and is the following: is when you use an aggregator, the tools and the features that are available are never the ones that are the killer feature for that specific item. So let me give you an example. If you were to go to Veo, Veo has really amazing features. You can actually pick the camera angle, and you can actually take the camera movement within the app. When you're using an aggregator, that one feature may only be proprietary to Veo, but it's not available to all 150 text to video models. So aggregators don't spend their time building out these one-off features that are only available in Veo, because it doesn't make sense for them to do that. So what happened is you using an aggregator never have access to that specific feature that has the ability to go pick the camera position and movement. So unfortunately, in an aggregator, what you get is you get a watered down feature set that is common across all the models.
So you can't use the best features that you need to make great movies, and you may not even have it copyrighted. So the big Hollywood studios might not even touch it. So Rita, before you send your movie out to the West Coast, you better make sure that you are not using an aggregator. You bring it over to the native video maker first. Copy?
Rita's giving lots of thumbs up here on the Zoom chat. All right, AI Johnny, let's get over to the pricing.
All right, Dabbler is free, same as every day. You get 100 compute units daily. This is perfect tier if you want to hit a token limit on another platform, or if you've hit a token limit, or on another platform, or you need to squeeze out a few more generations. And they also have the Side Hustler for $9. Is that price right? $9 a month?
Yeah, so $9 a month gets you about 5,000 what's known as compute units. Again, different names for different things. It's practically the same thing. And if you notice here, the $9 plan does give you a commercial license, and it says all generated content for commercial include marketing products and client work. So they're actually touting that it does have commercial license here, but not on the free plan.
Yeah, I love these terms: tokens, compute units, widgets, items, doodads. You don't know really what you're buying. You just know you're buying 5,000 of them.
Exactly.
There's also the $35 version, which I imagine this is the one that if you're a power user, you would have to pick. For serious creators, 20,000 units, full access to heavy video models like Sora VO3 and prior GPU access. Honestly, $9 a month for the basic tier. For the price of a pizza, you can get a digital employee that gives you access to massive hub models. The ROI is workable on that one, but we all have different workflows, so you're just going to have to look at your own workflow to determine if any of these Krea plans work for you.
Exactly. All right. All right. Yes. Yeah, John. Let's go deep.
Plug your ears. If you don't care about API keys or Python clips, go to sleep. Junior, what advanced or really technical things are possible that I should know about in Krea AI?
Yeah. So the thing that actually really fascinates me, and we talk about latent space all the time. I'm not even going to talk about latent space because I probably killed you guys today. But I want to spend a little time on the node editor, right? So the actual workflow that they actually have, which is actually quite fascinating technically. So on the sidebar, I did show you the node editor. It allows you to build a visual pipeline. So what it's actually doing is it's being able to connect directly to the actual individual models, and you're actually writing a prompt. And when you write a prompt, you can actually say, I want you to be able to do this thing when you get this input. So if the input is, say, for example, text, or if the input is an audio file, or if the input is a first frame for a video, it can actually say, always take this image or this audio or this text and do something with it. And I think that's actually a really, 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 really genius thing, where it's actually saying, I want you to do this when this happens. So when you do when you're trying to automate a pipeline of a workflow that you've done a million times, we do that here at Airhead all the time, being able to do that is actually a really, really great thing to be able to do that automatically. So I do like that. All right, yeah, Johnny, let's talk about some takeaways.
Okay. So how can you actually use this today? Here are some creative business use cases. Client pitching. You can draw a rough storyboard live in a meeting and let the AI generate high fidelity mock-ups while the client is talking because of the speed, obviously.
Yep.
You can bypass limits, keep the free tier bookmarks so when your primary tool locks out for the day, you can keep your creative momentum going. That's cool. You can add mock-ups. Use the upscale feature to take low-res product photos from suppliers and turn them into 4K website hero images.
Yep.
You're
And
doing that on a lot of tools, but I guess you can
ex-
do it here as well.
Exactly. And for my technical folks, who there's actually, many use cases, but I want to just give you guys, so workflow automation, like I said, I love the node feature on this. It's something probably I'll be looking into. You can build a pipeline that automatically generates a image in Nana Banana Pro, then takes that image and actually send it over to Veo, and then you can actually create a video and then upscale it to even a 4K video. So I love the actual workflow automation there. So for things like game developer assets, so rapidly generate things like 3D textures or sprite sheets for indie games using real-time canvases, and architecture prototyping. So sketch a rough floor plan of what the structural controls and instantly render things like a photorealistic exterior view for your prototyping. All right. We're actually about 5 minutes left in the show. Do we have any question in either Zoom or the live stream? Go ahead, ask your questions on live stream. We're gonna queue those up. Does anybody have any questions in the Zoom chat? All right.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I've got some cute questions queued up. Video Viper wants to know if I use the free plan to bypass my limits on another app, do I still own the rights to the video?
No. It's point blank. No. It's unfortunately. Um, Next question, Johnny.
Rights are overvalued. Just go ahead and use the image, brother.
I know.
Next up, Deva. Okay, we'll send that up to legal and see if we get that edited out of the show.
Love it.
Next
Love it.
up,
Love it.
DevOps wants to know if I can use Krea's real-time generator via an API for a custom app that she is building on her own.
Yeah, so Krea offers an API. We did check; it is in the let me see. I think it is in the enterprise tier. So I think you do have access. Yeah, so you have access to APIs here. So I'm guessing somewhere around here. So you expect to pay either custom pricing or $200 for access to their APIs. What else say, Johnny?
I have a question. I'm interjecting it. If
Hey,
I use Krea to
w-
generate,
wait, hold on. Just want to
go
say,
ahead.
hi, Ghana in the stream. We actually see you. Thanks for that. Do you have a question? If you can ask it, we're gonna actually take one more question before we actually come back to you, Ghana. All right, go ahead, Johnny.
If I use Krea to generate an image that I don't have the rights to,
Mm-hmm.
right? Take that image as a source image into Nano Banana and ask it to upscale it and change a bunch of things. Is the Krea watermark still in the Nano Banana file?
All right, great question.
Nano Banana file?
Great question. So let's actually talk about what's known as synth ID. So Johnny, you asked a really great question. So when you actually have, say, for example, $100 bill from the Mint, the United States Mint, what's happening is internally, for okay, what I'm going to show you guys is actually something really important, and the reason why I'm spending a little bit of time for the things that actually are important is the following. So on a $100 bill, right, there are actually certain things that actually are done on money that people are not even aware of. And these things are called either watermarking or counterfeiting features. Now, let's actually explain what's actually going on. You can actually see a watermark here. You can actually see a serial thread going through the money if you're holding up through a light. You can actually see an anti-copier line structure. You can actually see, micro lettering. You can see optical green ink. There's a lot of things happening in a dot. Now, this is actually pretty old because I do know there's a lot more. You'll also see some red and blue fibers. So what happens is all AI generated images, video currently in the top models, I know for a fact that Vio does it, Nana Banana does it. In the top models, have all these watermarks built in. They're all of them you cannot be seen with the naked eye. It is impossible to actually see that they're there. So when you're actually looking at the image, there's two types of identification going on. The first one is usually a little watermark with the branding going on to advertise their thing. If you're using the free version or if you're using a cheaper version, the watermark does not go away. But even if you were to pay for a higher tier and get that visual watermark go away, there's something known as a synth ID embedded inside the actual content, which you cannot see with your eyes. If it's audio, you cannot hear it with your ears. And if it's a video, you cannot see it again with your eyes, right? So that synth ID is there no matter what. And what will happen is any large language model that can actually ingest this piece of content will be able to see that synth ID to determine if it actually is AI generated or not. So AI generated, to answer your question, is if you were to take a video or an image that has a watermark, or you had something and put it through another system itself, whether you use Photoshop to remove that visual watermark, it still has the synth ID built in. So no matter what, you can never get rid of that digital synth ID that is actually marking it as AI generated.
So would it now have the synth ID from both Krea and from Nano Banana?
You are correct. It will have every single digital signature that it went through, and it will know the trace of actually going through all of it. Correct.
That's terrible news. Speaking of news,
love it.
Let's see. NVIDIA's flexible grid factories. NVIDIA just announced that they are partnering with energy companies to build flexible AI factories. These new factories will actually act as grid assets, flexing their power using base. Okay. The Guinadex AI agent, an engineer just built an AI voice agent that autonomously called over 3,000 pubs in Ireland to ask the price of a pint of Guinness, successfully building a massive data index. It's brilliant use of voice cloning. If that's true, that's cool. AI layoff backfire. A new SHRM study shows that 75% of HR professionals admit that replacing staff with AI actually cost their companies more money in the long run due to lost institutional knowledge. There's a honeymoon period for that. That'll go away. And that last story just proves you still need humans in the loop. Maybe personally, right after this stream, I'm going to set up a free Krea account just so I have a backup plan the next time I hit a token limit on my main video generator. And to the team of Krea AI, we know you're watching. Our students are hungry to master this central hub. If you want to partner with Airhead Institute to create the Ultimate Mastering Krea series, call us up. Tomorrow is Friday, which means we're driving into our Humanity 2.0 futuristic talks. Tomorrow's episode is a big one, Purpose Without a Paycheck. We are redefining success and how we find meaning when our identities are no longer tied to a job title. Don't miss that. Junior, take us out, bro.
Yep. Guys, I can't tell you guys thank you so much. We're actually at the season finale of Hidden AI Gem Starters. Tomorrow, as AI Johnny mentioned, we are having our season finale for the Humanity 2.0 No Jobs edition. So that's gonna be a great episode. Tune in tomorrow. And thanks for hanging out with us. Quick reminder that these live classes are completely free and anybody can ask questions right here on Zoom or on the live stream. Make sure you sign up for our free Airhead account at airheadinstitute.ai. And also today is Thursday, so just a reminder that tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time is Shauna Bible study. Shout out to Shauna on the actual Zoom chat right now. Replays of this class are available for a short period of time on YouTube and on Facebook. But if you don't grab it, go ahead and grab an Airhead Pro account and you'll be able to actually watch the review replays at any point in time. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys.
Thanks, guys.
That wraps up today's AI Power Up. If you joined late or you're new here, welcome to Airhead Institute. This is your daily destination for mastering artificial intelligence. We designed this lineup for everyone, whether you're a technical pro looking to upskill or you just want to chill and learn something new on your lunch break, we've got you covered. Our classes evolve every single month, so you're always on the cutting edge. And the best part? It's totally free to join. Once you're in, you can get live tips on your AI projects in our AI office hours and even enroll your kids in our Airhead After School program. Scan the QR code to join the community right now and make sure to like and subscribe at Airhead Institute on all socials. Guided by your hosts AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're here to help you win. Remember, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind. We'll see you next class. Bring a friend.